Hello!
Wii U, Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. Yes, it's Nintendo's follow-up to their Wii console, the even more bizarrely named Wii U. I can only imagine that if they keep up this naming convention, the next console will be called something like the Hergurk, or something along those lines. So yeah, first there was the massively popular Wii, and by massively popular I mean everybody in the universe bought two, and then they pretty much left them on a shelf, but that's not the point. They need to sell loads more, so rather than just having a motion controller this time, it's got like a bloody great controller with a big screen in it and things around the outside and bells and whistles. Not so many bells and whistles for me, because I've bought the Wii U Basic Pack, the Tesco Value Wii U, for the simple reason that I didn't need the stuff that came with the premium one. You get more things in the premium edition, but we'll have a talk about that in a moment. Let's see what's actually on the box here first. Oh look, a picture of the console. That always helps. This has 8 GB of internal storage, which is probably plenty for saving games, but absolutely useless if you want to actually download any games to it. And something important here, this will run Wii U software, it'll run Wii software, but not GameCube no more. GameCube too old. Bye GameCube, you gone now, with your little discs that we choked on. And what do we get in the box? Wii U, that's a good start. Controller with stylus, mains power block, other mains power block, but slightly smaller, and an HDMI cable, which is quite nice, because you rarely actually get those with consoles and that. Well, we might as well open it up and have a look, I suppose. Oh, marvellous. How was that for you? Right, I think I've got it upside down. That's probably not going to help. Here we go. Right, that's the console itself. Let's look at the boring bits first. Boring. Mains adapter for charging the controller. Boring. Big mains brick for powering the Wii U. Boring. Bits of paper about free stuff and things, and oh look, a quick start guide, and oh look, there's the HDMI cable. It's nice and grey to fit in with the sort of overall colour scheme. And what's here? Free. Ooh. Oh. I was hoping it was going to have one of those codes where you get Nintendo stars, where they say you can get free things with them, but actually they just sort of run out after 5 minutes. How odd. Maybe you just get them automatically when you register the console or something. I'm not particularly worried by it. Let's have a look at the device itself. This is all in white, because you get white for the Billy Basic one, and the premium pack gives you a black one. A black one which is very good at collecting dust and fingerprints, I have heard. The difference is, if you do want to know, between this and the premium has 32 GB of storage, up from 8. However, that's not as great as it sounds, because you can attach USB thumb drives to it, you can stick in SD cards, you can even attach up to 2 TB external drives. So if you're going to download a lot of games off the internet for purchase, to be brutally honest, 32 GB isn't going to cut it anyway. I mean, I work with video, so I've got more external hard drives knocking round than the Queen has corgis. Also, you get a Wii sensor bar with the premium. We've all got a Wii sensor bar because we've all got a Wii. This is a wireless Wii sensor bar that I literally bought in Poundland, so you can see what sort of value they have. What else do you get? You get the Nintendo Land game, which is very nice. That's something you'd probably want to buy separately. So if you can get premium for about the same price as the value, you might want to think about that. And you get a Nintendo Network premium subscription. I'm not even sure what that is, and even fewer people seem to care. So, here's the device itself. It's in a bag. But, no, it's not. Yeah. It's a white thing. It's bigger than the old Wii. It also looks a bit posher. It's sort of more curved. I imagine the black one actually would fit in nicely with sort of the things you've got under your telly. Here's a flap, SD cards, a couple of USB, disc eject button, power button, sync for the controllers, air intake for the fans, and on the back, sensor bar, standard old AV multi-out. You do not want to be using that. It's nice and high def. Use the HDMI. A couple more USB and an AC adapter. So that's 4 USB ports, which is pretty good. And finally, the bit we're all actually interested in, the controller. It's bigger than a small house. Not actually. Here it is. And my god, it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's absolutely packed to the gills with accelerometers and magnetometers and flibbidibidibidometers. It's even got one of those, I forget the name of it, that thing where you can hold cards up and it's sort of near wireless stuff. I don't know what they're going to use that for. Something in the future. I'm sure it'll be about as useful as that card reader they released for the Game Boy Color. Anyway, screen. Yes, like a small tablet. The resolution, I believe, is 480 in one direction, and 854 in the other. Yes, I did have to look that up. That's a slightly odd resolution, 854 by 480, but it seems to work. 16 by 9 and all that. You've got a couple of nice thumbsticks. You've got a D-pad. You've got buttons. You've got start and select. You've got a button that will actually allow you to use this as a remote control for your TV. There's a little infrared thing on the back. That's quite interesting. Webcam, so it can... Reggie from Nintendo HQ can stare at you whilst you play. It's got microphones, it's got speakers, it's got things you can plug into a dock, presumably. On the top, we've got where you plug the AC adapter in, headphone adapter, volume, and a couple more lovely buttons on the back. Bumper buttons, trigger buttons, and that's about it. Well, there is a sync button on the back and something you can open up to replace the battery. Battery life for this is about 3 hours while you're playing, which is... well, not really long enough, to be brutally honest with you, so you're going to end up playing it with the AC adapter plugged in most of the time. A bit like nearly all wireless controllers. I mean, the 360 ones, everybody you see has a play and charge kit that's permanently plugged in because the battery's dead. I don't know, just buy a wired one in the first place. Think ahead, people, you don't have to faff around with batteries then. These things don't last forever. So a lot of people have had problems with this, because they say their hands aren't big enough. Oh, it hurts when I go like this. I've heard this several times. It doesn't for me, but I've got very large hands, so that's not a problem. What is a problem for me is, if you look here, trigger, bumper. Actually going from the trigger to the bumper is a real movement of the finger, and it sort of twists the whole hand. It's very uncomfortable, not something you want to do a lot. And if you're playing a game like Batman Arkham Asylum, it basically demands you do that all the bloody time. You can try holding it by sticking your finger under this sort of part and then having two on there like that, but now you can't go from here to here without missing all the buttons, and it's a right pain in the arse. And for me, that is the big letdown of the controller, and possibly a reason you would not want to be playing games that use a lot of buttons on it. But you might not want to be doing that anyway, as we will see shortly. One more thing, actually. Stylus. Yes, it's not a capacitive screen, it's a bloody old resistive touchscreen. I know, you don't really see them anymore, do you? Very odd. I mean, it's good enough for in-game. You can prod it with your finger and move stuff around, so that's not a problem. And something that is nice, of course, is whilst it's not got multi-touch and all that, the fact remains that these things are a lot more accurate, and you can draw really nice pictures on it, as you will see a lot of shortly. So, better turn the bloody thing on then, I suppose. And yes, this is something you will be seeing quite a lot when you first plug your console in. There's updates for nearly all the games and several system updates to go through. The problem being, it's not a particularly quick process. In fact, the system update I last did took about 40 seconds to download, but 8 solid minutes to install. I mean, it's hardly a sort of massive nightmare that people are making out, because it's not something that's going to happen that often. But do bear in mind that if you're buying somebody one of these for Christmas, take it out of the box, update it all first, so that the little Billy doesn't rip it open and then have to spend an hour and a half waiting before he can play a bloody game on it. So here we are on the Wii U's main menu screen, which will be very familiar to users of the 3DS. Something I should point out, there's a brilliant feature for me, is that at the touch of a button you can swap between what's on this screen and what's on the television screen, which means I don't have to bother actually capturing anything from the television screen for this part. Hooray! I can just show you all here by pressing one button, because while we're looking at the menu, on the big screen behind me is this. A sort of load of me's being frightening and standing around and talking about games. And drawing really nice little pictures. The standard of artwork on this is fantastic. I don't know if somebody vets it all first, but I mean, look at this stuff popping up. It's not like the stickmen I would draw. This is a nice little feature, really. It's sort of a semi-forum-y community thing, where if you're stuck on a game, you can basically pause the console and go and ask people what to do next, and even draw little pictures. But don't draw rude pictures, because Nintendo don't like that sort of thing. Anyway, back we go. Right, top left. Plays whatever game's in the disk drive. Currently, Batman Arkham City Armoured Edition, but we'll get onto that. Next up, Me Maker. I'm not even going to bother showing you this, because I'm sure everybody knows what this is like by now. It's a thing where you make me's, the little avatars. If you don't know this, you're so far behind that you're probably like my great-granddad or something. System settings, not very interesting. Netflix, streams video, don't have an account, not really going to help us a lot. YouTube, now we're talking. Let's have a look at YouTube. Oh, fuck. Blimey, taken by surprise by another update there. Fortunately, it was a pretty quick one, so straight into YouTube. Bang! Ah, licensed by Nintendo. YouTube is a video sharing website which you've almost certainly never heard of and you're definitely not using at this second. If you want to know what's happening on the big screen behind me, exactly this, because it's loading. Oh, we're here. Oh, no, we're not. You may have noticed that it takes a little while for things to load on the Wii U. We'll come back to that in a second. Hey! Oh, and it's given us something nice. A Nikon D800 video test of hot pretty blonde swimsuit bikini model and a pink bikini 24 to 120mm lens from bikini swimsuit models. Blimey, since I haven't used this app before, it still knows me pretty well. Fair enough. Well, you think... Hang on, looking at the telly behind me, which I can't be bothered to capture footage of. Press Y to search. Here we go. This isn't a bad method for looking at YouTube videos, actually. Let's have a search for... No, I'm not going to search one of my own videos. I'm going to search for the last thing I watched on you. No, I'm not, because I'd have to ask them for bloody permission to... Ah, no, hang on. Sorry, just running legal possibilities. Yeah, no, I think we're all right, because this is produced by the company I work with, so as long as I put in an annotation to it, they won't sue me. Here we are. Fully charged show with Robert Llewellyn, who is a lovely man. Let me tell you my story about Robert Llewellyn. He plays Crichton in Red Dwarf and also sort of does shows about technology and stuff. And at a charity thing years ago, I turned to somebody I knew and said, "Oh, hello, you're right, mate." And inexplicably, that person had moved out of the way and Robert Llewellyn was standing there instead, who I obviously don't know. And I felt right silly. But Robert Llewellyn went, "Oh, I'm fine, how are you?" And everything was better. What a lovely man. Anyway, here's some videos. Anyway, YouTube works well. We like it. Close software. Man, I really can't whistle very well. Which is a pity, because I've had so much time to practice while waiting for the Wii U to get back to my home. Oh, what do you think I was doing? Yes, well, let's have a talk about the elephant in the room. This is a monstrously slow system to go back to the main menu on, even during games and stuff. Flippin' heck, it's not fast. It's quite frustrating, in fact. I don't know why it's so slow. It's not exactly a deal breaker, but blimey, it's irritating. Here's some health and safety information. Here's parental controls. Here's a daily log. Here's the Wii menu, here's Love Film Instant, and here's Wii U Chat. We're not really interested in any of this, are we? What's all this about? It's glowing. It must mean it's good. Ah, the Miiverse. Ah, we're here. You can view various game communities here. This is that thing I was talking about earlier, where you can sort of look at things and talk to people and then say hello, and they say goodbye. You know how interaction works. Oh no, straight out! Hooray! There's an internet browser. I really don't need to show you that, do I? There's this thing. I can't remember what that is. What is that? Oh, the Nintendo TVI. Now this is intriguing. Ooh, loading. The service is currently unavailable. Please die immediately. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Some sort of interactive television thing from Nintendo, but it's in no way active yet. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Here's a sort of instant messaging system. There's nothing interesting here. Let's have a look at the shop and see what we can buy with our hard-earned pennies. Straight in there. Nintendo eShop is controlled using the Wii U gamepad only. Good. That means I still haven't got to use the game capture device. Bum, bum, bum. Might actually be quicker to go down the real shops than load this. Ah, so you read any good books recently? Yeah, did you see the match on Saturday? Yeah. Oh, here we go, I think. Hey. And something Nintendo have got into, at last, is you can buy proper retail games through it and download them straight to your console and then not have a disc you can sell second-hand, therefore robbing yourself of value. There's a couple of demos. In fact, I think the only demo available at the moment is for FIFA 13, which I'm about as interested in as I am in Serbo-Croatian architecture. Under £20, there's a handful of indie games knocking around. Some of them look quite interesting, but I'm too mean to buy them. Let's see the prices for the... I was going to say for the big expensive games. How can we get to those? Is there a thing which will show us? Pointing to asymmetric gameplay. Interesting. Wii U demos. Wii U disc software, there we are. Stuff that you would normally buy on a disc, but instead you can download straight to the Wii U's brain. Rayman Legends, Funky Barn. You can't complain if there's a game called Funky Barn. That one's not released until next year, so that's a really good thing to have at the top of the shop. Well done. This one is not available in Nintendo eShop on Wii U. Marvellous. Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper is 50 quid. Super Mario Bros. U, 50 quid. I tell you what, let's go down and look at the games I've got. How much they are on Amazon, how much they are through here. Right, we've got Zombie U is £55. To buy it from Amazon at the moment is £44, where of course you get a physical disc that you can then actually sell on afterwards when you're fed up of it. Also, we should point out that if you don't have a fast internet connection, it's probably quicker for you to actually walk down the shops and bloody buy a copy. Assassin's Creed 3, £55. Nintendo, Amazon, £44. Rabbids Land, £40. Amazon, £33. Nintendo Land, £50. Amazon, £38. And there's the last one. Batman's Arkham City, Armoured Edition, not available in Nintendo eShop. So yeah, it's odd. They're kind of punishing you financially for using their download service. We still get a lot of this. I can only presume it's because they want to keep the retailers happy and the supply chain are going. Because, you know, you've got to have somewhere to buy the consoles. But, I don't know. They really need to change things around and offer things cheaper if they actually want this to be a thing, don't they? Back. Home. White screen. Here we go. Oh, I've received a friend request. I'll bet it's somebody awful. Right, back to the menu. Let's actually play a game, shall we? Somebody forgot to charge the battery in the controller. Guess who that was? Hint me. Anyway, Batman Arkham City. Let's have a quick play of a game so we can see how that all works. And this is quite a good one to show because, again, I haven't got to piss around capturing footage, although I have done some of that I'll show you later. But you can play this one entirely through the gamepad, through a rather nice feature the Wii U has. Imagine you're playing a game and Dad comes in and wants to watch Inspector Morse or something equally tedious, and you want to play Batman, but oh no, now Batman must go away and John Thor must come on. No, because at the press of a button, well, it's not actually the press of a button, it's going through several menus which differ entirely depending on which game you're playing, but let's not get into that. You can then switch the gameplay from the screen directly to the tablet screen here. Isn't that lovely? And just continue with it. Except, of course, it doesn't work for any games that make proper use of the Wii U screen, because you still need access to that. So, yeah, it's not anywhere near as good a feature as you think, because it's not that compatible with that many things. But hey, it does work nicely with Batman, which is what we're going to show. Start. Oh, here he is. Oh, angry man Batman. Got issues. His parents died, you know, but he has now got some magic gloves, which were missing from previous versions. Going to not try and mention the game too much, we'll get onto that later. This is just more of a technical thing as to how it works. It's a loading, as these things often do, and we've got screens, which will be very familiar to anyone who's played this game on other formats. And off we go through an intro. A strangely jerky intro. That's something we'll get onto later. Come on. We all know what's happening. There's Batman, there's evil people. Batman's going to stop them, probably by punching them quite hard. Maybe kicking as well. You know, he's an equal opportunities maimer. Where's my good... Oh, I've got my... Oh, of course! I mostly played this game on a friend's Wii U, so I don't actually have my good saved game here. Oh! Come on, let's just go into this story not started one where I've been faffing around. Riddler's Revenge. Ah, these are the campaign maps. That's a good way to do it. For this version has all the DLC from the other versions, all in one nice package. Isn't that lovely? Yes, is the answer to that, in case you were wondering. Right, select character. We've got him with the sticks, Robin, Catwoman, and Batman himself. I tell you what, let's have Batwoman in her stupid outfit, because that always amuses me. Right, challenges, just a random... oh, God, they're all locked, aren't they? Because I haven't got this... Oh no, hang on, the DLC ones aren't. Let us go to the Iceberg Lounge VIP room, where they treat you like a VIP by smacking your face in, I imagine. Maximise your combo in combat by seamlessly moving from one target to another without making a mistake. Very good advice for life there. Primary school teachers take a special note of that. Right, here we go. It's Catwoman, but she's using Wayne tech. Something on there. And it's all going on the telly behind me, which we don't really want at this second. We want to go into the menu. Let me access the menu. Come on. Come on, menu. Here we go. We can now switch it on to gamepad only mode. Hooray! Oh, we see the sound effects have started. Now we know what's going to happen.
Meow! It's the cat bitch herself.
Don't be rude.
Ladies and gentlemen, Catwoman.
Yes, yes. What the hell is she wearing?
Ready to fight?
And, if you haven't seen this game before, where the hell have you been for the last 47 years? Basically, you flip around and hurt people quite a lot in these challenge modes. You do it quite a lot in the standard game as well, actually. A lot of countering moves, a lot of kicking, a lot of punching, a lot of spinning around, a lot of occasionally stopping and flipping around everywhere, occasionally getting punched in the face if you're not looking entirely at what you're doing. Anyways, I'm sure this demonstrates you can indeed play the game pretty well just on the gamepad itself, and it looks quite nice. It's not as high res as your big old telly, but it still looks pretty good. I haven't had a problem with sort of not being able to see details or anything like that, so it seems to work quite nicely. Actually, something I should show before we go. This is how long it takes to get back to the menu to play another game. Press the home button, close software. Hooray! Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly using up hours of your life, but it just seems odd for a sort of new system where you expect things to be fast to take so long just to get back to a menu. Anyway, that's the hardware. Let's talk about some of the launch games, shall we? Now, the Wii U's launch lineup is surprisingly strong. I mean, over the last sort of 8 or 9 years, game console releases have had really weak launches with sort of half-assed titles, hardly any games, blah, blah, blah. But nope, there's a lot of stuff you've actually heard of and might want to play on the Wii U, so, you know, that's nice. The main supporter is, as ever at the moment, for new consoles, Ubisoft, and they appear to have released games you might actually want to play, as opposed to that bloody asphalt racing game thing again. But anyway, we're going to start with a look at a first-party title, Nintendo Land. First thing to notice, new colour of case. Sort of an interesting dark cyan. Very nice. Also, something I like, actually, on the side of the cases, they all have a little icon for the game. Oh, isn't that sweet? Anyway, Nintendo Land. This, frankly, is what it's all about, and we're going to start off with the high spot. It's basically a party game that makes use of all the Wii U's touchscreen and that, and uses aesthetics from various popular Nintendo franchises, and it's extremely good. It's really, really good fun. It's not that bad a game to play on your own, which is surprising for a game of this type, but when you've got a few people, this is really good fun. This is absolutely the recommended game that I have played for it. This is what it's all about, folks, actually using the new controller for something new and not just trying to ape what's come on the 360 and PS3 before. And as I said earlier, if you can get a premium for a similar price to a basic pack, then this is the game that makes that worthwhile. Go on then, we'll talk about Batman since we saw it earlier. This was an odd one, I thought, because hasn't everybody who would want to play this game played it like a year ago when it was released on the 360 and PS3? Seemed odd, but hey, it's a big name game and it's a very good game, so why the flipping heck not? This is known as Armoured Edition, and you've got different skins for Batman and Catwoman, and they've got magic electric gloves where after they've been punched a few times you can go into like a rage mode. And that's pretty much it. They've moved some of the menus over to the Wii U gamepad, which is frankly very, very bad news because it's made them all really flippin' cumbersome and annoying. Something that is nice is that Alfred now speaks to you through the Wii U unit, and Batman appears to have a screen on his arm, which mimics the Wii U screen, and that's about where all this ends. The graphics are basically identical to the 360 version. In fact, here are some captures I did. This is the 360 version. This is the Wii U version. It looks slightly lighter when I'm editing, or whether that'll come through in the encoded one, I don't know, but that's probably more down to capture and previous encoding than anything else. There is a very big fly in the ointment though. Whilst it looks very similar superficially, it's got a much lower frame rate than the 360 and PS3 versions, and it kind of chugs a bit. Now this is a bugger, because not only does it mean it's not as good a game, but also, if you just spent like £250 on a brand new console, you kind of want it to look more impressive than the one you've had for 6 years, and that really ain't happening. So, again, that's not a good thing. Also, as I said previously with the controller, it's a right pain in the arse to fiddle around with the buttons, and you'll probably end up giving yourself some sort of finger seizure. So, I mean, it's not a bad version by any stretch of the imagination, and if in fact you haven't played it before and for some reason don't have another console, then it's probably worthwhile. But as it stands, it's an inferior version for minor technical and hand-related reasons, and it's all a bit disappointing. There's also a weird thing where some of the cutscenes, specifically the death scenes, sort of glitch and stick a bit. Watch, here's a death scene from the 360 version.
This is hardly a surprise. I always knew I was better than you.
And here's the same from the Wii U version.
This is hardly a surprise. I always knew I was better than you.
And that weird stopping you see, that's not something that's been added in post. That actually happens while you're playing it. It's really off-putting. But anyway, I think we might actually be looking at the fairly obvious answer of, if you're going to play games on the Wii U, play Wii U games and not ports. Ah, Zombie U, the big game everybody was talking about because it looked different and interesting, and it's 18 plus and all that, which is interesting for a Nintendo console. And I was really looking forward to this game because I'd heard it takes cues from Dark Souls and Demon Souls, so you know that's good, as they are two of my favouriteest games ever. And secondly, somebody who played this before I did was very sneery about it and said, it feels like one of those weird PS2 budget games from Japan. I love those weird PS2 budget games from Japan. I mean, I've actually played Zombie vs. Ambulance, or Zombie Virus as it was called over here, through to completion. And I mean, Global Defence Force, Earth Defence Force, some of my favourite things ever, so I was well excited for this. And I'd be honest, I was very let down because I found it incredibly dull. It's so repetitive and there's so little in it, it's almost unbelievable. It's very difficult, yes, but not always in a good way because the controls aren't as tight as Dark Souls, so when you die, it isn't one of these things where you think, oh, I did this wrong, oh, it's my fault. Sometimes it just feels like the game is attacking you. Superb example, actually. Fairly early on, there's a bit where I ran past some zombies, just got into a door that I had to get to, and they just didn't catch me. All very tense and exciting. Pressed a button to open the door. Loading, it says at the screen. Loading. Loading. Yeah, all right. Open the door. Loading. Oh, God, all the zombies have now followed me in. Cricket bats, get away from me. No, they killed me, and as soon as I fell to the floor, the fucking door opened. That was one of the most infuriating deaths I've ever had in a video game. It just felt like completely not my fault. Very, very annoying, but it's the repetition that kills it, to be honest. I mean, yeah, the graphics aren't great. It looks slightly worse, really, than an Xbox 360 launch game. I mean, it looks far better than PS2 or something, although some of the textures are very ropey up close. But yeah, you know, all the zombies pretty much look the same. There's almost no variety. The zombie animations are all the same, and they're quite weak, to be brutally honest with you. And you just, well, look at this. That is pretty much Zombie U in a nutshell. Hit something 5 times with the cricket bat, finish it off on the floor. And when you work out later on that the trick is to crawl into spaces where the zombies crawl after you, because when they're on the floor you can kill them with one hit, that's pretty much the whole thing over. I played this game for about 4 hours, spent the last hour so bored it was unbelievable. But there we are. Some people have really got a lot of joy out of this. People who enjoy repetitious stuff, presumably, because it really didn't click with me. But hey, it's an interesting experiment. It just feels a bit half-arsed for my money. And also, they call the torch a flashlight. It's supposed to be set in London. I mean, very brown and grey small spaces in London, but London nonetheless. It's called a torch, not a flashlight in this country. Irritating. And something I didn't realise till Guru Larry told me, it's actually a reboot of Zombie, which was Ubisoft's first ever game, released in 1986 for the Amstrad CPC, which incidentally has one of the worst covers of any video game ever. I mean, look at this. It's Assassin's Creed 3, but on the Wii U. For my money, a slightly better conversion than Batman's. It seemed to run slightly smoother, but Not much else we can say to that, really. What ruins it this time is bugs. I had it crash on me several times while I was playing, and the cutscenes go really weird sometimes, and characters like start walking through each other and stuff, so that was a bit disappointing. So again, you know, if you want to play this, play it on 360 PS3, which you almost certainly already own. And the final game I have, Rabbids Land, featuring those weird rabbidy creatures that have taken the Wii and various other formats by storm. Sadly, this is so bad that I'm just not even going to bother capturing any footage out of pure contempt. It's one of these setups where you've got like a board game with mini-games coming off it, which is something I have a real soft spot for, actually, but this is an astonishingly bad example. It's really half-assed. The games are short, the games are dull, the actual board game bit is excruciatingly slow, and absolutely unforgivably, the board game can be played by 4 people simultaneously, but each mini-game can only have 2 people playing it at once. This is really not good at all, and compared to something like Nintendo Land, it's utterly worthless. I mean, if you find it for £5 or something, even then, I would be not entirely sure I would recommend it, because there's very little fun to be had from this at all. Go for Nintendo Land. I cannot recommend that highly enough, especially as compared to this. So, conclusions. And there's no point in drawing a bloody conclusion on new hardware, is there? Because it's always going to be exactly the same. Before you spend your money, wait a few months for the price to go down and some more games to come out so you can survey the situation better. There we are. You can basically apply that to every console ever released. Although with this one, I suppose you can put on the addendum of, at the moment, avoid games that are released for other systems and go for ones that are just for this. And I think that will ring true in the future, actually, for the simple reason that within a year or so, we're going to be looking at the next Xbox, maybe even the next PlayStation, and, you know, they're going to graphically leave this behind. So this is something that's going to be far better played with games that actually play to its strengths. And that's certainly the experience I've had with the 5 games here. The Nintendo Land game is so much better than the rest. It's unbelievable. It's a really brilliant party game where you've got, you know, one player on this, the other players on the Wii remotes, and it's all excellent fun. So, yeah, wait for more games like that, play those. Let's just hope that they release more stuff like that and less bloody shovelware. Oh, look, here's a game that's on the other formats, have this one as well, and we'll put in a map for the bloody tablet screen, because it's not going to really do it for the owners.